If you're getting Social Security disability benefits, SSDI, you really need to hear this message, as the Social Security Administration recently changed the rules. And in this short video, I'm going to break down the details of all of these new rules to help you maximize your benefit, maximize your money, and avoid any potential pitfalls or learning this lesson the hard way and seeing a huge garnishment or reduction to your monthly benefit, or possibly even worse, maybe even the elimination of your benefit or even an overpayment letter from Social Security, all of which are viable options if these rules are violated. I want to break it all down for you. And again, I'm not here to scare anybody. I'm here to help you maximize as much money as you possibly can as a Social Security disability beneficiary. But remember, Social Security loves rules, right? They love rules, and there's a lot of rules out there. You got to know the rules of the game. Otherwise, they're going to throw you out and they're going to bench you for a while, right? You don't want that to happen. You want to be in the game so you can win the dollars, right? Anyway, I'm going to break it all down for you here in this video. Now, before we get into it, I do want to clarify. Everything I'm talking about here in this video directly pertains to Social Security disability SSDI benefits. I know that I just said that, but I also talk about all types of benefits administered by Social Security here on the channel, and I just want to make sure that this does not get mistaken with SSI. SSDI and SSI are similar, but also very, very, very different programs in a lot of ways. So anyway, we're talking about SSDI. If you're on SSI, I will have more dedicated videos for you coming up. Stay tuned. A lot of big things happening. All right. So to be fair, I'm filming this video at the very, very end of 2025. Everything I'm talking about here goes into full effect as of 2026, as in the numbers pertaining to SSDI benefits. These are all of your new 2026 numbers you need to know about, okay? All right, so as an SSDI beneficiary, life is good. I mean, getting benefits anyway, but there's also these major rules that we need to understand, okay? And I don't want to see you learning these lessons the hard way. Not a fun day, okay? I'll tell you that much. Okay, anyway, here's what it comes down to. The new definitions for what Social Security determines as SGA. SGA, what does that mean? Stands for substantial gainful activity. Okay, but still, I don't get it. What does that mean? It simply means that if you have any income aside from your regular SSDI benefit, there's a threshold that they put in place. If your income is above the threshold, they say, hey, you're engaging in SGA. We're really going to start questioning your need for your disability benefit because you're disabled, right? And, well, if you're earning a substantial income, substantial gainful activity is what you're engaging in, we're going to think, hey, maybe your disability isn't so bad after all, and maybe you don't need the benefit. You don't want them questioning you because that's when your benefits become in jeopardy. Just saying, okay? Alrighty, anyway, they break it down into two separate groups. You gotta understand which group you're in here because the dollar amounts are significantly different. So they break it down into two groups, non-blind and blind. I would assume that you know which category you're in based on your disability. I'll tell you this much, my category is blind. Why? Because I'm blind. That's why. So I fall into the blind category, okay? At this point, if you are non-blind and if you're looking at me, you're probably thinking, oh, yeah, it makes sense now. The dude's blind. That's why he's not looking at the camera and why his eyes are all jacked. Yeah, right, because that's why, right? Blind. Okay, anyway. We can talk about that more later. And by the way, I have hundreds of videos here on the channel from like a long time ago, many years ago, talking about my blindness and visual impairment and like, losing vision, stuff like that. Those are really bad and old videos, but they're still here on the channel if you want to watch them, okay? You definitely don't have to. Anyway, here's the deal. So let's talk about non-blind first, okay? So they have this new threshold in place of earned income aside from your monthly benefit. Yes, you can have an earned income as an SSDI beneficiary. However, honestly, it's not a whole lot, but it's certainly better than nothing. You can have an earned income as a disability beneficiary if you are non-blind. The threshold is, for 2026, $1,690 per month of gross earned income is what you can have, as they define that as SGA in 2026. What I mean by that is that any income above $1,690 a month of gross earned income would be telling them that you're engaging in substantial gainful activity. In other words, if you earn over the threshold, they're basically going to question your need for disability benefits, and that's when problems will start to come in, okay? So anyway, your earned income, and again, I really want to emphasize gross earned income. In other words, total income prior to deductions like federal taxes, state taxes, FICA taxes, things like that, okay? All of that, your gross income. In other words, you earn $20 an hour, you work 10 hours, $200, right? Gross. And then, federal taxes, state taxes, maybe you take home, I don't know, $120, but they're going to look at the $200 in this case, in this example that I just gave you, okay? So that's that. That is non-blind SSDI beneficiaries. Your SGA threshold for 2026 per month, by the way, $1,690 a month is what it comes down to. Okay, keep that number in mind. If you're having any income, earned income, aside from your monthly benefit for 2026. All right, so keep that number in mind. We'll come back to this in a second. Now, let's talk about the blind category. Blind beneficiaries, you also have an SGA threshold, but it's actually significantly higher. $2,830 a month of gross earned income is where they determine as SGA, substantial gainful activity. In other words, you can earn up to the threshold, but if you exceed the threshold, now they're going to start questioning your need for your disability benefit as a blind SSDI beneficiary, because if you earn over the threshold, now they think, hey, maybe you don't need disability benefits anymore. And then they garnish your benefit. And again, it's a bad day. And a lot of people are not very happy. Okay. So anyway, keep that number in mind. Again, $2,830 of gross earned income on a monthly basis is what they determine as SGA. And again, remember, gross income being total income prior to deductions. That's the big number that you want to pay attention to. And again, the example that I gave is you're earning $20 per hour, you work 10 hours, $200, that's gross income. And then obviously you don't get all of that. There's all kinds of taxes that are taken out. Maybe you get $120 something like that, but you get my point, right? Anyway, that's the number that's going to be taken into consideration. Okay, now these are the new thresholds that I want you to understand. You're going to fall into one of the two categories, either blind or non-blind, and those are your thresholds. Now, a common question that I get down below is, I'm not working. What happens to me? Nothing. If you're not working, if you don't have an earned income, doesn't matter. This doesn't apply to you because it's only earned income when it comes down to. Another common question that I get is, can I still get my benefit if I'm having some income and earning money up to that threshold? The answer is yes. You can still get your disability benefit and earn some money on top of that as well, okay? But you have to earn under the threshold. That's the key here, earn under the threshold. Otherwise, you could see that garnishment to your benefit, and that's not going to be fun, right? This is why sometimes you hear people say, like, I'm on disability, I can only work 12 and a half hours a week or something. You're like, 12 and a half hours a week? What do you mean? Like, where did that come from, right? Why that random number? That's why. It's because they've calculated it out based on their hourly pay or their salary, whatever it happens to be. They can only work so many hours per week to stay under the threshold. I'm sure you've heard of that before. I know I've heard it many, many times. People that, on some type of disability benefit, they have like some random number of hours they can work per week. And it's like, wait, why is that? Right? It's like some random off the wall number. That's why, is to stay under that threshold. Okay. Now, all of this, and along with some best practices that I want to share with you, which are this: if you're going to start working, if you're going to have an income, if you're going to change your job, if you're going to get a pay increase, change your hours, whatever it happens to be, I always like to say best practices are call Social Security, have a conversation with an agent. They will help you look through all the numbers. They will understand your situation and help you calculate exactly how many hours you can work on a weekly basis and hourly basis to make sure that just to make sure that you are staying under the threshold and that you're still getting your benefit and also maximizing your potential earnings that you can, to get as much money as you possibly can, okay? Now, is work required? No, absolutely not. You don't have to. You don't have to at all. It does not matter. You can if you want. You don't need to. It is not required. But these are the rules, the earnings thresholds in place, the SGA, substantial gainful activity thresholds that they've put in place and that they've increased for the new year. They increase these numbers every single year. They've gone up a little bit for these two categories that I'm talking about. Okay? Anyway, I hope this helps you. As always, please subscribe down below, 100% free. Big subscribe button down below. Please share the video. Big share button down below if you know anybody else on disability. And as always, just best practices being, if you're going to have any income aside from your monthly benefit, earned income, call Social Security. Make sure that you talk through it with somebody about that. You're not going to be in trouble. I promise you. I've done this myself multiple times. It's okay. You can have some income, but just you got to follow the rules, okay? That's where things go bad, is when you don't follow the rules or you try to hide it from them. They will find out, and it's not going to be a fun day, okay? Just be transparent with them. It's okay. You're not going to be in trouble. I promise. Anyway, hope that helps you. Anyway, please subscribe if you're new here. Share the video. Big share button down below. Subscribe. Otherwise, enjoy your day. Take care. Hope this helps, and I'll catch you again later in the next video. I'll see you for now.